Alright everybody, welcome to Psycho's Platters episode 176, but there's a side title to this. We are going to basically call this the contest response to Boolzabah. I hope I'm saying that right. Boolzabah VC. I've actually watched a few of this dude's videos, and I really like him. He is having a contest in regards to the lowest number White Album from the Beatles. Now, I have to admit, I've seen a bunch of your guys' videos. You guys are going to beat me hands down. So you know what? I still wanted to do a video anyway. Because here's a yellow submarine shirt. Because, I mean, a White Album shirt would be pretty much white, wouldn't it? Except the word the Beatles. Yeah. So anyways, I still was going to shoot a video anyway. Because I know the fact of the matter is that, you know, people are going to have really low numbers. I hope Doug Fields, my buddy, does one because his is, he's got a copy under 300,000. But I digress. So, what I wanted to do, though, was I want to show you the couple copies I've got. But I also wanted to bring up some research. You know me, I do research over here at Psycho's Platters about the album's numbering system and things to do with the records themselves. I am not going to talk about the history of the recording of this kind of stuff. I'm going to save that for 2018 when the deluxe White Album comes out. So here's the thing. I want to go from highest copies to actually, you know what? Forget that for a second. Let me show you what I've got first. I picked this up. I didn't even pick this up for $3, okay? This is a capital press of the White Album, but the reason why I'm showing you this one here is that it's a purple capital. If I remember correctly, purple capitals were in the 80s, mid 80s, if I remember correctly, yes. But the nice thing about this is that this press that I picked up, even though it says $3 on it, I only spent maybe about half that. But of course they come with the photos. You know, all of them in here, and then the poster. I'm not going to... This is the only copy. I hate to admit this is the only copy that I have everything to. And like I said, it's a reissue. Now, I have... in one of the copies, I've got the photographs, but I don't happen to have the poster. I've got three copies of the White Album. I may actually have more, but these are the only ones I could find right now. The highest copy I happen to have is 2,014,382. Somebody wrote on the back $5. I know I did not spend $5 for this. I think it was a buck or two, to tell you the honest truth. But I'll show you. Like I said, I'll show you. These are all American pressings. I really wish I had a UK press, but this is one of them right here. I started going through these really quick before I did this show, and the condition of two of the three they're playable. They're playable, but the one that I'm proud of, I'll show you at the end. But so 2,014,382 is my farthest along copy that I've got. My next second copy that I happen to have, I do happen to have 1,814,800. I own that one too. This one, though, like I said, this is the copy I had that has just the pictures. I was able to find all of those. For some reason, when I found this, Paul's was in the other sleeve. I don't get it. This one, unfortunately, is not in the best of shape. There is there's about that much of a tear in this one. Now, before I get to this last one, I want to go off and tell you guys some history bits about the White Album for not only Boolzabah VC, but the rest of the fans out here, my Psycho Platters fans and Beatles fans alike. Okay, these all pulled from different sources. First of all, the Beatles album was called The Beatles. ninth studio album. November 22nd, 1968, and November 25th, 1968 for U.S. Mono in the UK and certain other countries. That is so on my want list. Seriously, that is like on the top right now of my Beatle want list, is an original UK press. I would so love to have one of those. Yes, I know I could go off and get a mono reissue, but you know what? I'm a pain in the ass. I don't want to get a mono reissue. Not if I don't have to. I know it's going to cost me a few $100, but eventually I'd like to find one. From Discogs Forum, it says here that that the German pressings and the Italian pressings, original pressing of the White Albums, also were numbered. For Australia and New Zealand, they started the numbering process at 1,000. Now, early UK pressings, they were top loaders. In other words, the records would go through the top to put away, okay? But then, of course, the side load, which is what's typical, more common, is what most people have got. And let's see here. Another one, audiokarma.org. Supposedly the A equals American press. UK pressings have no, but the O is underlined. In other words, no standing for number, and the O is underlined. So it's a UK press. 12 White Albums were printed with the 2 million number. They ended up in hands of Capitol executives, and 12 copies were printed with the number 1 by the printer, who was Queen's Litho, as souvenirs. My next source here, Steve Hoffman Forums. The inner sleeves were black until early 1970 for the UK releases. Then stock EMI white sleeves were used. Sold in UK. Text was removed from the Apple labels by mid-1969. Sorry, kids, hang on. Alright, from the website whitealbumregistry.com, which, by the way, you can register your White Album. There's a form there. And if you've got multiples, then guess what? You can register for the multiples. But whitealbumregistry.com, you can register your number. So on there, I found other different sources across the universe said they may have numbered this album up to 3,200,000. Albums were numbered until early to mid-1971. Beatles Index says that the Beatles album had 250,000 advanced orders. So that kind of tells you a little bit right off the bat that they had 250,000 advanced orders. Now, I'm led to believe that's for U.S. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I was reading out of all this. By the end of 1968, so remember, it came out in the third week of November of 68. By New Year's Eve of 68, it sold 4 million copies worldwide. By the end of 1970, it was 6.5 million worldwide. At that time, it was the biggest selling double album till Saturday Night Fever would show up in 77, I think it was 77, to overtake it. From BeatlesBible.com came this info. Several pressing plants worldwide use the same numeric system. So, number of copies will have same numbers. So, you know, I mean, each system. So you have multiple copies of the same number. According to Paul, yeah, that Paul, John got copy number 1 because he shouted the loudest in the meeting. McCartney also admits that he has the 1,000,000th copy in his possession. Other things here that I wanted to throw out. There are, to my knowledge, and based on what I did research on, there are six song title label error screw-ups, which would help to determine if you have a first press. At least for the American ones, okay? 5 of the 6 were corrected. So the songs are, okay. Bungalow Bill instead of the continuing story of Bungalow Bill. So Bungalow Bill was first, continuing story was added later. Obla-dee Obla-da, no hyphen. It was just 2 words. Obla-dee Obla-da. Rocky Raccoon, missing a C. Now, I'm told in the English language, 1 C and 2 C's are acceptable for the word raccoon, but back then they said, nope, that's a goof. Now, that's the only label error that supposedly did not get corrected, at least up into the 90s. Now, I don't know any more than that on that. Good Night is all 1 word instead of 2 words. And lastly, Revolution number 1 and Revolution number 9 are titled Revolution NO.1 and NO.9 for originals labeled, and then they fixed it to Revolution 1, Revolution 9. Now this one here, this copy I've got, this is probably my best copy of this, and the one I'm most proud of, to tell you the honest truth. This one here is 1,654,199. This copy that I've got here, I'm going to probably just Frankenstein some of this. I'm probably going to take the photos from the other copy, the 1,000,008, and stick them in here. I just need to find an original poster. But this particular album that I have does have all the label screw-ups. It's got Bungalow Bill. It's got the Obla-dee Obla-da without the hyphen. It's got Good Night all in 1 word. And I'm not kidding that this is in at least near mint condition, between near mint and mint condition. Now, what I mean by that, of course, is I know a lot of people are going to go up and say, well, not the cover because the ringware. Yeah, I know. I'm talking about the vinyl, not the cover. Because trying to find a mint cover for this thing, yeah, right. I've never seen one in 38 years of collecting. I have seen minor ringware. I've never seen a perfect white cover. Maybe some of you people out there have, but I haven't. But this is the copy that I'm really proud of. Now, I want to throw out here real quick, if you'll permit me, I'm going to have to read from a computer screen, so bear with me. This is from analogplanet.com. Buying the Beatles, the White Album. Now it says here, I'm just going to cut down a little bit if you don't mind. Tracking down a preferred pressing for the White Album can be challenging. Several of the songs sound somewhat brittle or compressed, perhaps because the engineers were being asked to turn up the treble and the bass in the Trident and Abbey Road recording studios. Jeff Emmerich served as the balance engineer as he had since Revolver, but abruptly left after 9 songs. Ken Scott and others took over, enlisting a brand new 8-track recording machine that EMI was reluctant to use. The result was a fascinating sequence of linked tracks that couldn't have been more different, sometimes brash, sometimes subdued. Now, the first UK LP pressings of the White Album, both mono and stereo, feature heavily laminated top-loading cover sleeves with 7-digit serial numbers, black paper inner sleeves, and a -1 lacquer number on all 4 sides. The album sold in the millions so quickly that many top-loading copies ended up with a -2 lacquer number as well. The mono release was short-lived, and the stereo top-loading cover was subsequently changed to a numbered side-loading second pressing. The copies that were reissued in the 1978, I'm assuming the BC13 stereo box is the Beatles collection, the rarity one, I'm not sure. Well, you know what I'm talking about, the Beatles collection, the one in the big, thick blue box. And the 1982 UK mono box have unnumbered side-loading covers, white inner sleeves, and later Apple labels. All of those releases included the photo collage poster and 4 high-quality portraits of the Beatles. Now, choosing a mono pressing, it says here that, well, we already know that, you know, by '68. I mean, I'm glad that England at least did the White Album in mono. They did do a 1969 Yellow Submarine in mono, but it was a fold down, so really that don't count. So the White Album was the last one that they played with on this. And it says here that the mono release is different from the stereo version on several songs, makes for interesting listening for those that are intimately familiar with the U.S. albums. One example, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, has a more modulated and goes on longer before the fade out. The original UK mono double LP, with the #1 lacquer numbers, now 40 years old, has a warmth and naturalness to the vocals that's very appealing. 1982 UK mono reissue on thinner vinyl with a #2 lacquer numbers is slightly more punchy and detailed. It has the great mid-range presence, but is slightly bright and less tonally convincing. The only other LP option for the White Album in mono is the 82/86 limited edition Japanese release. On those pressings, the vocals are warm and slightly recessed. This actually works pretty well on several tracks like Rocky Raccoon. An excellent condition copy of the UK 82 mono reissue runs about $150. The Japanese red vinyl mono with Obi goes for around $200. And by the way, this article was posted in late 2012, so the values could be more escalated. Choosing the stereo pressing is the one, of course, most people are familiar with. Compared to the remaster, the original UK 68 stereo LP with -1 lacquer numbers is probably one of the better ones. It says there, the areas where the original LP loses out in bass definition, soundstage width, and inner detail, it's in those areas where the CD shines, but at the expense of realistic presence. Like the mono, the original 68 top-loading UK stereo album can be costly, although it's usually easier to find a good shape. In true excellent condition, can go for around $200. It says here, I'm going to try the editor's note. Though this album was issued on Apple, EMI pressed it so its mother and stamper code can be found in the lead-out groove area. When buying a used UK copy of the White Album or any EMI pressing, it's helpful to know the mother and stamper codes. At the 9 o'clock position is a number that tells you the mother number used to generate the stamper, and at the 3 o'clock position is a stamper code in letters that tell you the stamper number. The code is based on the letters GRAMOPHLTD, with G being 1, R being 2, and so on. So if the letter is G, it's a first stamper. If it's Mo, it's the 45th stamper, and so on and so on. So a very first pressing would have the -1 lacquer number. The mother number would also be 1, and the stamper letter would be G. Since each mother generates dozens, if not hundreds, of stampers, usually you don't see mother. I mean, it gets confusing here, guys. Very confusing. I'm going to throw one last little factoid out. And this comes from, of course, the Goldmine book. Yeah, I know. I'm an edition behind, but bear with me. It says here that for the Beatles album, numbered copy includes 4 photos, large poster, and once again, the white cover shows basically, you know, so it's got to like show no ring wear, right? Extremely difficult to find in near mint condition. Second pressing labels have side 1, song 5 as continuing story of Bungalow Bill. VG value is almost 200. VG plus value to 375. The only difference between that and the next entry I'm going to tell you is that you got the original Bungalow Bill press on the label. For a near mint condition copy, it's saying it's going for $1,500. VG goes for $225. VG Plus goes for $450. I'm not lying when I tell you that, you know, I mean, if we're talking, like I said, if we're talking records, the record condition, it is at least a near mint. As far as for the cover itself, yeah, I know. It's got the wear. It could be a lot worse, but you know, what can I say? I'm still happy to have it. I really am. So, Boolzabah VC, I don't know if that answered any of the questions, but you knew dang well I wasn't just going to play show and tell and say, hey, guess what? These are the numbered copies of my albums. So, you know, once again, even though my lowest one here is only the 1,654,199, this is the copy that's currently right now at this minute. That is my lowest copy. That is the most original copy I've got in a U.S. edition, and this is the one I'm happy with the most. That this one I'm going to keep probably till I'm dead. The other ones I may end up trading out eventually. But like I said, if you guys want to go register your White Album, whitealbumregistry.com will get you there. So, you know what? Once again, Boolzabah VC, thanks for doing this video. I like people that can make videos that make you think. You know what I'm saying? And I love showing this stuff too. Alright, VC, I love you guys. Take care, God bless, and rock on, and see you next episode.